Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining myself and my wonderful husband today. We just wanted to take a few minutes to reach out to those of you out there that might be having trouble with the Enhance. Now, I know a lot of people love Enhance, myself included, and my husband, but there are people, for whatever reason, their gut just wasn't quite ready for the amount of fiber that is in Enhance. Now, many of you know my weight loss journey. I was lucky enough to start Mind Body back in August as one of the pre-trial participants, and I've had huge success. I have lost 25 pounds, but I've also changed my habits 2 years prior to starting this, right? I was already eating 100 grams of protein a day. I'm already walking every single day. I'm already lifting weights, 4 times a week. I'm already prioritizing water and sleep, and I've been activated for 8 years. So I thought my gut health was on par, but let me tell you, after adding Enhance, I realized it really wasn't. But all that to say, we have some ideas. Now, my husband Garrett, who is here with me, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
I call him my right hand man, but this guy is so knowledgeable. He has an exercise science degree from Gonzaga University. He has owned gyms. He's been a power lifter since he was, 17 years old, 16. He knows the supplement industry like the back of his hand, and he knows science and he knows health. And so he was actually talking with one of our teammates out in Florida, former pharmaceutical sales rep who's calling on a lot of med spas and doctors. And they got to talking about why I would say maybe, 2 out of every 10 people are having a little bit of difficulty processing the enhanced fiber. And so, she gave him this idea. He ran with it. He dug deep. He did some research, and we want to share it with you guys. Okay, so take a few minutes. Garrett, you're going to share your screen and you're going to teach these people something I didn't know. Because again, I have no problem. I did for about a week. I'm not gonna lie. I was, in the bathroom a lot and had some gas, but that, went away after about a week. So, Garrett.
Yeah, thank you. So let me go ahead and pull up my screen here, and we can kind of get into discussing what might be causing some of this, I guess, for lack of a better word, gastrointestinal distress for some folks. And I know I'm not part of the awesome weight loss group that you and your team have put together, where I think there's 18,000 people in it. But I do hear you talking about it a lot, and I know that one of the main complaints is people are having trouble when they add the fiber component of the mind body system, and it's causing them to quit, right? Or just have a really, really negative experience. And Holly really opened my eyes to some things that, yes, I was aware of, but never really thought about it before. But what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention today is kind of the concept of FODMAP foods and high and low FODMAP foods. And right now, you're probably wondering, what the heck is a FODMAP food? We're going to get into that in just a second, but just know that it's something that some people have trouble digesting. But we're going to kind of go through what that is, how this could be affecting certain parts of the population, and then most importantly, what you can do to rectify this situation, get your gut healthy, and then hopefully have a much higher success rate with the mind body system. We all know that when things are good, people, they really want to talk about them that much. But boy, when things are bad, that's all anybody wants to talk about. Just an unfortunate part of human nature.
Human
So
nature, yeah.
we want to try to eliminate the bad, right? This isn't going to be perfect for everybody. Nothing works 100% for 100% of people, but I believe, based on the results that I've seen with you and with others that have had tremendous success with the mind body system, we want to try to make this as work for as many people as possible. So hopefully this is a remedy for some people that have been having a hard time with it. So let's jump in a little bit more about what a high FODMAP food is. Okay, so FODMAPs are foods that contain a certain type of carbohydrate in it that are really poorly absorbed by your small intestine. So when you eat food, you're chomping on it, you swallow it, it goes into your stomach, it spends some time there, then the next stage is the small intestine. So high FODMAP foods don't really get absorbed by the small intestine really well. And for some people, this is an issue. For some people, it's not an issue at all. Actually, for most people, it's not an issue. But for some people, what happens is those carbohydrates, they just sit in the small intestine and they ferment. They literally just start to rot, for lack of a better word. And that bacteria in your small intestine grows and grows because it's trying to break this stuff down, but it's just sitting there, right? And so that everything just kind of gets overloaded. The bacteria grows too much. That food is just sitting there undigested, and it can cause a lot of issues with people from a gut health perspective.
But could it cause constipation?
Absolutely. It can cause bloating, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but bloating, constipation, excess
Yeah.
gas, stomach
Mhm.
aches, low energy. Yeah, all these things can be affected by this. And one of the crazy things is that it's hard to tell what a high FODMAP food is. It's not like they don't teach this normally, right? This isn't something where you go in the grocery store and it's labeled as high FODMAP, organic, sugar
Right.
free. So we're going to go into what some of these foods are, kind of maybe trying to avoid some of these foods and replacing them with alternatives. But understand that this is not meant to be something you do for your entire life. So when we're getting into FODMAP foods, what we want to do is try to identify which of these foods could be causing you issues, because not every high FODMAP food is going to cause an issue for somebody that's sensitive to this stuff. It's usually just certain ones. But if we start by kind of eliminating some of the more common foods that are high FODMAP, and replacing them with low FODMAP foods and then seeing what the effect is on gut health and the diet, that's what we want to do. It doesn't mean you have to avoid these foods forever. It just means we need to heal the gut and get it to a place where it's digesting better, the bacteria is under control, and then you're able to take advantage of the complete mind body system.
Okay, so how do we do it?
All right, so let's get into this. Okay, so you're asking me what some of the symptoms are, right? So we know that these are foods that have carbohydrates in them that are not well digested in the small intestine. This leads to rapid fermentation by gut bacteria. Fermentation produces excess gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, a whole bunch of other things. Okay, not a fun situation to be in. If you already have this issue and then you add even more fiber to it from the mind body system, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just going to make everything worse. You'll actually could potentially gain weight from this because all that fiber is just sitting in there and it's just sucking in
Ah,
water.
that makes so much sense.
You're
Yeah.
holding water, you feel like crap, so you're not wanting to work out, right? It's a slippery slope that leads to a really, really bad situation. So how do we control this? Well, let's start eliminating some high FODMAP foods from the diet and replacing them with low FODMAP foods. So there's a couple categories, actually more than a couple. There's about 6 or 7 categories we're going to go through here where I've listed, for instance, in this one, fruit and what high FODMAP fruits are, and then what you could replace them with. Okay. So for instance, it's crazy to see this, but apples, right? One of the staples of the American diet. Everybody eats
I
apples
eat one like every day.
every day, right? And for most people, they don't have a problem with it, right? High FODMAP doesn't mean unhealthy. It's just for certain parts of the population, they have trouble digesting these types of foods. So if you're somebody that eats apples all the time, or grapes, right? Or peaches, I love peaches. These are all high FODMAP foods, meaning that the carbohydrates in these foods tend to not be well absorbed in that small intestine, and you get that bloating or that altered, bowel health effect. So try cutting out these and replacing them with the ones on the right. Bananas, right? Oranges, pineapple. Again, very, very common fruits that we eat all the time, but focus on those and not the high FODMAP ones. See how your gut responds, right? Give it a couple of weeks. If you eat an apple every day, stop doing that. Try eating a banana every day.
And you're
See
not
what
saying
changes.
forever, because I can't live
No,
without
no,
blueberries.
no, no, no. This is not forever. Absolutely not. And people need to understand that. It's not like your entire life you have to eat a low FODMAP diet. That's not the
Yeah.
intent here.
Well, and I don't even need to do this because I have no problem with enhanced. But
Correct.
if
And,
I
and
heard
most
this, I
people
would be
don't.
like, no blueberries? What?
Yeah, and right. And it's kind of shocking when you look at it because these are common foods and these foods are very healthy, right? This is just for that subset of the population that already has an existing gut issue that's having trouble with the fiber component of the mind body system and is really kind of given up on it. Let's try this first, right? And try this for a couple of months, see if that solves the problem. Then you can have success with the mind body system. So let's go on from fruits here. Let's go to vegetables, right? Again, really
Uh,
common vegetables.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts, your favorite. I don't know why. I don't know anybody else in the world that likes Brussels sprouts as
Oh
much as
my
you
God.
do,
I know a ton of people that do.
but you love them. And artichokes and
Beets.
cauliflower
I
and
love
peas,
beets.
asparagus.
Mm.
Again, very common vegetables, very good for you. But if you're sensitive to these high FODMAPs, try eliminating those from the diet for a couple of months and replacing them with the things on the right. Okay. But
Okay.
with your cucumbers, your carrots, your cabbage, your lettuces, your okra, stuff like that, see if it has an effect on how you feel and your overall gut health.
Okay.
Dairy, another
Okay.
really
This
big one.
this is gonna be tricky.
Dairy
Yeah.
is always controversial for everybody, okay? But here's the good news about dairy is if you're already dairy sensitive, you're probably not drinking milk anyway, right? Or yogurt or anything like that. Those tend to be high FODMAP foods, but there are low FODMAP dairy foods as well. And thank God it's the stuff that people typically like. Cheddar cheese, Swiss cheese, great. Parmesan on my spaghetti, fantastic. Feta on my salad, sour cream, all low FODMAP
Well,
things.
what about one of the ways a lot of people love to eat enhanced is mixed into Greek yogurt? Could they do lactose-free Greek yogurt and that would be okay?
Um, I honestly don't know the answer to that. I don't think so.
Just
But
avoid the Greek yogurt?
I would have to look into that. Yeah, I
Okay.
would just say don't mix it with any type of yogurt, lactose free or not. I know lactose free milk is on there. I haven't researched that further enough. I'd be
All
happy
right, maybe I'll do
to.
some research because I know there is lactose-free cottage cheese and lactose-free Greek yogurt.
Yes, and lactose is simply the sugar that is in milk, and that could be the carbohydrate that is causing the issue. Absolutely.
Okay. So stay tuned on that.
Beverages. This is a really fun one. Apple juice, of course, because apples are on there. But look at some of these other things that are on here. Chamomile tea, coconut water, rum. If you got any rum and Coke drinkers, hey, swap that out. Switch over to, I don't know,
Vodka.
yeah, vodka tonic or something. But again, try replacing the ones on the left with the ones on the
Oh
right.
my gosh, rooibos tea. That is huge in South Africa. I came home with some. Everybody drinks rooibos tea over there.
That looks like a very South African word right
Uh-huh,
there.
it's delicious.
And thank God red wine is still low FODMAP. White wine, beer. I think
Coffee.
everybody's going to be
Whew.
okay there, right?
Okay,
But
we're
try
good
cutting
there.
out the oat milk and some of the other stuff. And again, this is not a lifelong thing. This is just for a couple of months to see how your gut reacts and to see if you can heal it. Okay. A couple more here. So sweeteners. All right. Again, a very hot topic with a lot of folks. Artificial sweeteners, natural sweeteners, everything in between. I think this one to me was a little bit surprising in that honey is high FODMAP because I know that's a big go-to natural
And
sweetener.
agave too,
And
yeah.
agave, again, nothing wrong. Those are very healthy things. Just for folks that are sensitive to this stuff, you might want to cut those out.
What
The
the heck
fancy
is
ones,
jaggery on the low FODMAP? What is that?
I do not know what Jaggery is.
Jaggery.
Thank you for pulling up the two things that I don't know in this presentation. The rest of them I'm ready to speak to, but Jaggery I am not familiar with.
It's a traditional unrefined sweetener made from sugar cane or palm sap, often used in South Asia. Okay,
There
good to
you
know.
go. Okay. So again, replace the stuff on the left with the stuff on the right for a couple months and see what
You know,
happens.
Garrett, I think a lot of people out there are consuming sweeteners that they don't even know, like especially if they're eating a lot of like power bars and drinking
Oh yeah.
shakes. There's a lot of sweeteners hidden in that stuff that you don't even know.
Well, what the one of the big tricks that they do with especially the protein bars, because everybody's trying to cut out sugar, right? Well, eating raw protein, unless it's meat, is pretty disgusting, right? Like if you're doing unflavored whey protein or unflavored casein, or it's disgusting. So they have to sweeten it. They have to make it palatable. But because there's such an emphasis on sugar and high fructose corn syrup, what they instead use are sugar alcohols, which are the last
Yeah,
listed on there, the polyols. Those have a sweetening effect, but my God, like I don't touch those.
I cannot take those. It kills
It
my
destroys
stomach
me.
every time I do.
Me too.
I
But
can't.
people eat that stuff left and right without even knowing about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, be extra
Like
sensitive
when
to
I did
that
the
stuff on
keto
there.
diet and all those things that you eat have that sugar alcohol in it,
Yeah,
killed me.
yeah, it's nasty stuff for me. Okay, a couple more. Legumes. I don't know that legumes are a huge part of a Western diet, but almost all of them are high FODMAP. So keep that in mind. If you're
Oh
big
no, the
on your
vegans
almonds,
are
cashews,
freaking out right
chickpeas, yeah,
now.
well, I mean, you got to make choices. So,
Oh my God, almonds and cashews.
yeah, yeah.
All
But
right, skip
most
the
other nuts
legumes.
are
Just don't
not,
eat
right?
them.
So
Well,
just
no, but
keep
it makes
almonds,
sense
cashews.
because when we eat a lot of beans, they cause gas anyway.
They do. Yep. And that's That's because it's the same thing. So beans contain a very complex carbohydrate that the human body has a very, very difficult time breaking down. And that's exactly what happens. It ferments in your gut because, it's the same reason we don't eat grass, right? It's the same kind of a very, very complex carbohydrate. We don't have the enzymes to break those things down. So they just ferment in there. They cause gas, they cause bloating, and a lot of other things. It's
Okay.
very well known with beans. It's just it can happen with a lot of other foods too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then after this, I just want to hit on really the big three. So the next ones are not even food segments, they're actual foods themselves. And there's a reason we want to highlight this, and it's because they're so prevalent in a Western diet. So wheat, okay? Wheat actually in and of itself is not a high FODMAP food, but because we eat so much of it, we tend to have issues from this. Even a low FODMAP food, if you eat a ton of it, is going to cause an issue. So wheat by itself, not a big deal. One slice of wheat toast, not a big deal. But if you read the ingredient list of nearly any prepackaged cracker,
Especially
cookie,
here in the US. Yeah.
anything, it's all enriched wheat flour. Everything is wheat based.
Yeah.
So those of you with gluten allergies, you're already avoiding this anyway. But again, if you're having some gut issues, try cutting some wheat out. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to eliminate it completely, but I would try to cut back on it significantly. And below are some other things that you could replace it with. It's really hard to find foods though that have a brown rice flour as a base as opposed to wheat flour. So this could mean just cutting out processed carbohydrates for a while, which
Which
typically
we
are
should
your
be doing
crackers,
anyway.
your
Yeah.
cookies, your cereals, and things of that nature.
Correct.
Okay, the next one, onions. One of the major, major flavor. Uh, I think an onion's actually no, it is a vegetable.
I
Uh,
don't like onions anyway.
no, but a lot of people do,
I know. I
and
know.
they eat a lot of them because it tastes good, right? We mix it and everything. It's used as a flavor enhancer. Okay, very high FODMAP food. So again, let's cut out the onions. Let's try chives, leeks, asafoetida, which is would be very rare in the U.S., but certainly a possibility. It's just a root of a plant that's not common here. I know that was the third one you were going to ask me about, so I was
Mm-hmm.
sure to prepare it on there.
Okay.
Okay, and then the very last one is garlic. I mean, I love garlic.
I do
You're
love garlic.
Italian.
I'm Italian.
You love garlic. Garlic itself, high FODMAP, but there are other things that you can use. There are even parts of the garlic fruit that you can use
Hmm.
that are not high FODMAP, but try just cutting out the garlic, right? Replace it with
Turmeric.
all
Glad
these
to see
other
that
things.
on there.
Yeah, you
Good.
can use turmeric. These are all low FODMAP alternatives to garlic that are available to everybody. Okay. So I know that's a lot, and I'm not saying you have to eliminate every single one of these high FODMAP foods, but start with the most common ones that you consume the most frequently and just either eliminate them from the diet and replace it with a low FODMAP alternative, or just try to cut way back on it. See if that heals the gut, right? See if you get out of this basically long-term SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, which is what happens when you eat high FODMAP foods and they just ferment in your gut and you just feel constantly bloated and have bowel issues and fatigued. Let's try to get away from that for a couple of months, see if we can heal the gut and then have success with the mind body system. So let me turn it over to you for kind of going over what a 6 month plan might look like implementing
First,
some of this
first of
stuff.
all, can I just say that I looked up lactose-free Greek yogurt, and it is indeed a low FODMAP food.
Beautiful. So there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing. Here's the deal, guys. Now, as an admin for Activated Weight Loss with, like Garrett said, over 18,000 people now, I'm privy to seeing everybody's testimonies first. And I'm here to tell you, 8 out of every 10 testimonies we get in that group are fire. Like they are happy, they're losing weight, they're feeling great. 2 out of every 10 are people that we're addressing today that might have some issues with the enhance that for whatever reason decided not to give it enough time, maybe. None of us, myself included, have been on it for more than 6 months. I've been on it for 6 months. But again, my journey started 2 years ago. So I think that for me is kind of the frustrating part when people decide to start a weight loss program like this is. They have in their mind, I don't even like the 12 week. I really don't, because yeah, you might lose a few pounds in 12 weeks, but maybe your body is just figuring things out over those 12 weeks. I know it took my bowels 10 weeks to figure out what Enhance could do for me, but I get sad thinking about all the people that quit after, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Some didn't even give it that long. And so that's who we're here to talk to and to hopefully help through that transition. And this is where the 6 month plan for gut health and weight loss success comes in. Now, if you're one of those people that had trouble with Enhance, here's our suggestion to you, okay? Give yourself 6 months, okay? Do 3 months on this low FODMAP diet, which we're going to share a 1 page low FODMAP diet with you, detailing exactly the foods you should avoid, and 3 months of our healthy gut stack, which is Protandim NRF2, which every breathing human being should be on, in my opinion, anyway, our prebiotic and our probiotic. Let's tackle that gut health first. Then let's add in 3 months of the healthy weight stack. So you're going to swap out the prebiotic and the probiotic, and you're going to add in the core and the enhanced mind body system. You're still going to stay on the NRF2, and you're going to see what that does over the next 3 months. So if you're willing to kind of reset everything with different expectations, a different, guide to follow, a different kind of plan of action. If you're willing to do that, I want you to get back with whoever you order from and let them know, hey, I'm back in. I want to give this a shot again. I'm willing to give myself 6 months to do this and see what happens. I'm telling you guys, you have to give it time. You have to be consistent. You have to really dig deep. If your body cannot process fiber, your body is telling you, help me, okay? Help me. Like I've completely transformed my gut, my health. I've lost 25 pounds. I'm sleeping great. I just turned 50, and I honestly, my hand to God, I feel better than I did in my 30s. And my husband can attest to that. And he has started to steal my Enhance, and he's drinking that. Now, he doesn't have weight loss goals as a power lifter. He can't afford to not be hungry. He has to eat, but he does need help in the gut health department. And so he's added Enhance, and he's seen incredible results doing that. Luckily, we are selling them separately now, which is great. So people can choose to do that. So if you have any questions about what we talked about today, I urge you to get back with whoever is sharing this with you, and they can help get you those answers. Thank you so much for your time, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening whenever you're listening to this. Thanks, Garrett. Appreciate your
Thanks,
wisdom.
everybody.
Okay, bye, guys.